Our story begins in a boxing gym in Korea. The owner of this gym is a man named Choi, and he's busy cleaning the place. Choi also has two adopted kids who mean a lot to him, Giri and Shinwoo. Giri is very hardworking, while Shinwoo is lazy when it comes to work. But Shinwoo is extremely talented in martial arts. In fact, he already proved it by winning the District Boxing Olympics. Because of his victory, Shinwoo receives a scholarship from the government, which allows both him and Giri to attend a well-known school in the city. On the first day of school, Shinwoo oversleeps, so he has to rush to get ready. Unfortunately, by the time he reaches school, he's already late. The hall monitor punishes him without hesitation. Shinwoo ends up doing push-ups along with the other late students. After finishing his punishment, he heads to his new classroom for his first class. But as soon as he walks in, all the students stare at him because he showed up late on his very first day as a new student. Feeling a little awkward, Shinwoo walks over to Giri, who is introducing herself to the rest of the class. After a while, both Shinwoo and Giri take their seats. Throughout the entire class, Shinwoo pays absolutely no attention to the teacher and just sleeps. Luckily, he's sitting all the way in the back so nobody notices. On the other hand, Shinwoo's lazy behavior catches the attention of the student sitting next to him, Jiang, who seems interested in becoming friends with him. Soon, Shinwoo and Jiang become good friends. They even buy the same snacks and drinks together in the cafeteria. After school, Shinwoo practices boxing so he can become stronger and protect himself. While he's focused on training, his father Choi comes there and scolds him. Choi had found out that Shinwoo was late for school. Instead of apologizing, Shinwoo talks back, which makes Choi even angrier. Meanwhile, Giri is watching a drama while eating spicy noodles. At that moment, Shinwoo comes into the kitchen, grabs some chopsticks, and steals her noodles. Giri gets annoyed by his childish behavior and insists that he buy her new noodles along with some ice cream. Because of that, Shinwoo heads to a convenience store and even spends his saved-up money to buy food for Giri. As he walks out of the store, he notices a group of bully students harassing a quiet boy. The boy gets shoved by the bullies and bumps into Shinwoo, causing Shinwoo's noodles and ice cream to fall on the ground. Shinwoo doesn't like that at all, so he asks the bullies to pay him back for the food they ruined. Instead of apologizing, the bullies laugh at him for daring to ask him for money. One of the bullies, Jiang, even makes fun of Shinwoo's messy appearance. Angered after being insulted, Shinwoo throws a powerful punch that knocks Jiang out in one hit. The most surprising part is that some girls from Shinwoo's class record the entire fight. The quiet boy is deeply impressed by Shinwoo's bravery because it was the first time someone had ever dared to stand up to Jiang. Jiang was known for bullying weak students all the time. The boy even offers Shinwoo money to help him out. But just as Shinwoo was about to take the money, he notices that all the girls are recording him. He didn't want it to look like he did all this for money, so he refused to take it even though he badly needs it. When Shinwoo gets home, he gives Giri the noodles and ice cream, but everything has already gone bad. Seeing her ruined food, Giri gets angry again and storms off to her room. The next morning, Shinwoo oversleeps once again and ends up doing push-ups as punishment from the hall monitor. Later, while walking through the school hallway, he notices that other students are staring at him, which confuses him. Feeling suspicious, Shinwoo enters his classroom and realizes that his classmates are looking at him with respect. Shocked, Shinwoo asks Jiang why everyone is staring at him. Jiang shows him a video from yesterday where Shinwoo defeats Jiang. Because of that video, students are now impressed by Shinwoo's bravery since he stood up against Lee's gang. Some students have even started seeing Shinwoo as a hero. At the same time, the leader of Jiang's gang, Lee, becomes furious after watching the video because Shinwoo beat up one of his gang members. Lee gets even angrier when he finds out the video went viral and damaged his gang's reputation. Now, more students are starting to stand up against Lee's gang because they see Shinwoo as a hero. Despite being angry, Lee decides to recruit Shinwoo into his gang so his group can become even stronger. The truth is, Lee's parents own the school Shinwoo attends. That's why he thinks he can do whatever he wants and bully weak students without facing any consequences. After school, Shinwoo goes to Choi's boxing gym for training like always. During his practice, a man named Jun suddenly arrives and introduces himself saying he wants to join the gym. He promises that he'll come every day to train in martial arts. The next day, Shinwoo oversleeps again and rushes to school. In class, he sleeps through the lecture as usual until members of Lee's gang come to bother him for revenge. Giri notices this and steps in, telling Lee's gang to leave Shinwoo alone. One of the gang members gets annoyed that Giri interfered and tries to intimidate her, but Shinwoo quickly stops him and challenges the group to fight in the school hallway. Hearing this, students gather around because their hero was about to fight the bullies. As expected, Shinwoo easily defeats Lee's gang. Without Shinwoo realizing it, the fight catches the attention of the student council president Jiang, who becomes interested in talking to him. After the fight, Jiang invites Shinwoo to meet her in the student council room. During their conversation, Jiang praises Shinwoo's bravery for standing up against Lee's gang. She says she's impressed because it's rare to see someone brave enough to challenge the school bullies. Jiang explains that she had been waiting for a hero like Shinwoo because none of the teachers dare to challenge Lee since he's the son of the school owners. Hearing her praise, Shinwoo feels embarrassed and instantly develops a crush on Jiang. To maintain his heroic image, he tells Jiang that he stood up against Lee's gang because he wanted to stop bullying in the school. After leaving the student council room, Lee approaches Shinwoo, who had been waiting outside. But Lee isn't there for revenge. Instead, he invites Shinwoo to join his gang. He even tries to tempt him with money if he accepts. However, Shinwoo refuses because he doesn't want to join a gang of bullies just for money. After school, Shinwoo goes to a store to buy Giri the helmet she always dreamed of having. When he gives it to her, Giri becomes extremely happy and excited. She even gets excited about buying groceries so she can cook him a special meal as thanks. At the same time, Shinwoo goes to a supermarket to buy a drink. Unfortunately, when he reaches the cashier, he realizes he doesn't have enough money. That's when Jiang shows up and pays for his drink. In return, he tells Shinwoo that he has to go on a date with her so they can get to know each other better. Since Shinwoo already has a crush on Jiang, he happily accepts her offer. That night, Giri is busy preparing a delicious meal for Shinwoo, but he never comes home, which leaves Giri feeling disappointed and upset with him. The next day at school, Lee hears from his gang members that ever since Shinwoo arrived, their reputation has been ruined. In anger, Lee smashes his phone on the ground, breaking it completely. Meanwhile, Shinwoo feels jealous after seeing Jiang talking closely with Jun. Curious about their relationship, Shinwoo gathers the courage to ask Jun about Jiang while they're training at the gym. Jun explains that Jiang is actually his younger sister. Hearing this makes Shinwoo feel relieved because now he thinks he still has a chance to become Jiang's boyfriend. A little later, Choi walks over to Shinwoo and Jun. Choi praises Jun's martial arts skills and says he's even better than Shinwoo. Hearing that bothers Shinwoo because his father is praising someone else. To earn Choi's praise, Shinwoo decides to train even harder. The next day at school, Lee's gang once again tries to bully weak students and take their money. Luckily, members of the student council step in and stop them. Frustrated by their actions, Jiang warns Lee to stop bullying. She tells him that if he doesn't stop, she'll report him to Shinwoo. Hearing Jiang's threat makes Lee furious, and he wants to go after her, but he controls himself. Instead, he says that sooner or later, Shinwoo will end up joining his gang anyway. Meanwhile, Shinwoo was sleeping in class when a huge senior from the third year approaches him. The student challenges Shinwoo to a fight, annoying him so much that Shinwoo knocks him out cold. Once again, the other students are shocked after seeing Shinwoo defeat a senior. However, the teachers don't approve of Shinwoo's actions. One teacher scolds Shinwoo and even calls Shinwoo's father, Choi, to the school. During the meeting, the teacher tells Choi to keep a close eye on Shinwoo's behavior because he keeps getting into fights. Feeling embarrassed, Choi apologizes and promises to be stricter with his son from now on. That night, Shinwoo meets Jiang and tells her that he can't keep protecting students from Lee's gang anymore. He explains that he's tired of constantly getting scolded by teachers who are too afraid to punish Lee. A few days later, something unexpected happens. Shinwoo goes to Lee and says he wants to join his gang. Lee becomes extremely happy that the student who always stood in his way now wants to become part of his group. The other gang members are happy to welcome him too, except for Jiang, who still holds a grudge against Shinwoo. Even so, Jiang pretends to be happy out of respect for Lee's decision. At that moment, Shinwoo's decision to join the gang shocked everyone. The other students feel disappointed because they saw him as a hero. Now, they start disliking him and try to stay away from him. During break time, Lee's gang asks Shinwoo to help them threaten weak students and take their money. While the gang is busy collecting money from students, Shinwoo secretly records all their actions. After school, without telling Lee, Jiang gathers all the gang members together to take revenge on Shinwoo. They plan to attack him, thinking he'll be training at the boxing gym. But when they arrive there, they don't find Shinwoo. Instead, they see Jun practicing. Since he's badly outnumbered, Jun can't stop them and gets beat up. In the middle of the fight, Giri arrives there and becomes shocked after seeing her father's gym getting destroyed. She quickly pulls out her phone to call the police, but before she can make the call, Jiang hits her from behind and knocks her unconscious. The gang members panic and scold Jiang for knocking Giri out. To avoid getting caught, they quickly ran away from the gym. Jun immediately calls Shinwoo and tells him to come right away. When Shinwoo arrives, he becomes furious after learning what Jiang did. He knocked Giri unconscious. Without thinking twice, Shinwoo heads straight to Lee's hideout to take revenge on Jiang. As soon as Shinwoo reaches the hideout, he fiercely fights Lee's gang and defeats them one by one without wasting any time. Soon, he defeats Jiang too. Then, Lee steps forward to face Shinwoo, furious that his gang members were beaten up. At first, Lee easily blocked Shinwoo's attacks, because most people don't know that Lee is actually an MMA fighter who has won several championships, including an Olympic title. In this dangerous fight, Shinwoo starts struggling and almost loses, but his anger keeps growing, giving him the strength to continue. He lands a powerful punch on Lee that breaks one of Lee's teeth. With that final hit, Shinwoo wins the fight. Soon after, Jiang arrives and gives Shinwoo a phone containing recordings of many crimes committed by Lee's gang. Shinwoo tells Jiang to report everything to the school so the bullying can finally end. A few days later, thanks to Shinwoo's efforts, the school becomes a peaceful place for all students. Lee's gang finally stopped their bullying and threats. The students feel proud of Shinwoo's bravery and call him a hero. In the final scene, Shinwoo peacefully enjoys his school days with his friends. And with that, the story comes to an end. So, how did you like the story? Let me know in the comments.